it's the interview queen, Alicia Toot here, and you are currently listening to and obviously enjoying Queen's Court.
Oh my God. I see an apparition before me. This is a rare occasion, my friends, because, life is life. But there is nothing better than sitting down in front of a hot mic with my very best pal. You know him, you love him. The can't miss speculist, who's sort of ish back, but, well, he'll tell you. And he's here with me. JPQ, Queen and Pup Connection, is back on Wednesdays. We wear purple. It's happening. I'm so excited we get to talk today. Made my morning.
It's so crazy, right? It's been so long. It's ridiculous. And people don't know about a relationship outside of the content creatorship.
Yeah.
But to do this and to record it and to talk about everything that we're going to talk about today, it's a treat because it's been way too long, Queen. Happy back at the castle. Every castle needs a good ghost. So I'm happy I'm able to pop in from time to time and be the apparition.
Well, I'm a ghost myself, so haunted my own damn castle. Oh my God. But my best pal's here, y'all. And you know what that means. It's Wednesdays. And you know what that means. Not AEW, my friends.
Nope.
It's hashtag wrestling fashion. It's happening because we just had the grandest show of them all, or the stupendous, whatever the hell show they said, the most stupendous WrestleMania, something like that. I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It's so stupid.
It's the dumbest thing.
I heard stupendous and I was like, you want to run that back?
I was saying McAfee said it on night one. And I'm just like, that's a weird adjective. And then it just never went away for the rest of the weekend. I was like, oh, this is a branding thing. Like whatever just happened to the Showcase of the Immortals,
I don't know. I like that one.
Yeah, it's a fantastic one. I don't know if there's any Immortals anymore, but why not? Yeah, I think if anything, I mean, you think about what we saw the last two nights. We got some things that we haven't seen in decades happen in that ring, and I guess it's stupendous, right? I guess that's an appropriate adjective, but who the hell uses that word?
I don't know. I don't know. But it was certainly a blast from the past in a lot of ways. And I think we would be remiss, though, JPQ, if we didn't start, speaking of legends, we did just have the biggest figure in wrestling history officially retire, so to speak, and enter the Hall of Fame, though he did say never. That, of course, is the Undertaker. Now, I don't know if you peeped his suit at the Hall of Fame. He wore it a couple times. He actually wore it again at Mania. So that's the same one. But the tailoring, the fabric, the little bit of pizzazz, I kind of was living.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, for what it was.
It's a suit. It's not the Undertaker's costumes.
No, it's a suit.
Right.
But we didn't know what we were going to get, right? And was that crushed velvet? Is that what we were looking at?
I feel like that's what it was. At least that's how it came off to me.
Yeah. I didn't watch. I saw the videos. Hall of Fame isn't really my bag, but one of those things where black on black, then a leather jacket on top of it. Not easy. Different shades of black, but the dude pulled it off. And when we saw at least when I saw the little tidbits of the acceptance speech, I guess is a good way of phrasing it. He looked good. He looked good up there, right? Looked a little leaner. Old. The man is old. He's an old man. He's got a lot of tread on those tires, or a lot of wear on those tires. But from a suit perspective, very, very nice. Overall, and really enjoyed the hat, leather jacket combo underneath or over top the suit. Thought that was done really, really well.
I agree. I loved when he put that on at the end and said, "Never say never." But it was, I don't know. I wasn't sure what to expect because Undertaker is so iconic for his looks and the pageantry and the smoke. So like, what's the man gonna look like? Because we saw, American Badass, and we understand the bandana and the cutoffs, that we understand. But Mark Calloway as the guy, we've only really seen in like workout type gear or hoodie type gear or 9-line. So it's kind of like, okay, what is he gonna do for the Hall of Fame? Because this is such a huge moment, in wrestling history, to have him be inducted into the Hall of Fame and be, I don't know, like done and like breaking the fourth wall for the first time, unless you've watched the documentary, but probably the wider casual audience hasn't at all. So seeing Undertaker not as Undertaker, but as the man, Mark Calloway, I was excited to kind of see what the look would be. There was some other fun stuff suit wise and dress wise at the Hall of Fame, but I just wanted to remark on that real quick before we dove into WrestleMania.
Yeah, I thought it was clean. Actually, looking it up, looking at the stills a little bit more. I actually think that's a satin suit.
Is it? Is the detail crushed velvet? Something is reflective like velvet.
Yeah, it's detailed. The satin's getting the shine on it. Sheen? But the sheen, exactly. And then there's a little bit of pattern in there, is what I'm noticing. In the stills and whatnot, it looked like crushed velvet at first, but looking at it now, pulling up a reference, it definitely a satin suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, very nice. Very cool.
Listen, I like it. I thought it looked good.
Too. Yeah, me too.
But I do have to say, as we're diving into chit chat about Mania, and of course our main topic of wrestling fashion, my friend, WrestleMania 38 had very few top tier wrestling fashion moments that we have been accustomed to at WrestleMania. And I kind of thought the first Mania back for real, for real in the past couple of years due to the, panorama. Here we are, 77,000 people. I'm like, oh, everyone has to be excited in the back. They're going to get that big WrestleMania pop-in crowd. They're going to get the reaction and the banter and back and forth. It's going to be a thing. We're going to come with our A game. We're going to bring it. Stupendous. Or whatever. And my friend, I gotta tell you, not as much as I had hoped for.
It's a downer year.
Oh, why?
I don't know. Let's go with shipping issues. Why not? Right? I don't know.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, it's. I'm not saying that every outfit was new, right? Well, I'm not saying everyone was old. But I feel like I've seen these on Raw and SmackDown recaps. I don't feel like everything that we saw was in your face, like stupendous. Yeah, it's not. But it was still good, right? There was a lot of good. There was a lot of I don't want to put a damper on wrestling fashion. I mean, we do this once every 18 months. However, was there as much as we're accustomed to seeing? Right, part of the show of all shows is to see costumes of all costumes. And I don't think we got that this time around to the level that we're accustomed to your point. And with that said, we can start with the opener on night one, because in a lot of ways that kind of set the tone for what the next two nights were going to be from a wrestling fashion standpoint, from a costume character standpoint. And it was an interesting night.
Well, it was interesting. And, we were also once upon a time earlier this year going to talk about the Rumble, but your girl got COVIDs. But
glad you're doing better.
Thank you. Bringing that back to the earlier point, it was lackluster there too.
Yeah, I can see it.
It's like a trend this year. I don't know if we're trying less is more or like what the deal is, but looking at the opener, Usos versus Shinsuke and Boogs for the championship belts, tag championship belts. I expect something interesting from the Usos. Nothing's ever, I don't think, over the top, but they do some fun things every now and then. So I'm like, okay, we're going to get some fun. I guarantee they're going to be in championship white. Sure enough, there we are. Naturally. I love Usos in white, especially that ones a couple years back. It was just really clean, all white with straps. It was great. But this one, I was super underwhelmed. I looked at this. I kept looking at it. I'm like, are we just in a red t-shirt and a hoodie vest, which isn't atypical of them. They do hoodie vests a lot.
Sure.
But what are these pants? And why does it feel like I'm going out with the boys for a couple beers and not I'm rolling with the SmackDown tag titles at Mania?
Right. Yeah. So I actually want to take the opposite on my side.
Okay.
As someone who hasn't been as clued in on the SmackDown side, because I'm usually busy on Friday nights. The Bloodline, I wasn't really. I mean, the last time I remember watching the Usos, they were feuding with Roman. Right. They weren't part of the stable.
Right.
So for me, come back into it, and we always talk about this with the fashion aspect. As a casual, can I jump in and kind of pick up with where the storyline is based off of one of the components being the attire?
Right.
And I think here, sure, Bloodline, you can kind of put 2 and 2 together with Roman. Okay. Yep. They're together, but kept the championship white, right? Kept their overall aesthetic the same, right? To your point, no real variation from what we're accustomed to seeing. For me, that's comforting because it means I'm not too out of the fold. Right. From when the last time I watched. And, it kind of had a little bit of a Shawn Michaels vibe to it.
Okay.
Yeah. Not so much of the fit and not because of, the overall thing, but they had their logo and all these different areas on their pants. I mean, remember the Heartbreak Kid back in the day, he always had the little heartbreak hearts all over his pants. Right?
True.
And so I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, this is kind of a throwback to the early 90s fashion, right? While kind of keeping it a little bit new school with that Uso flair. I think you add those two things together with the championship, right? You put the red in there because of the Bloodline aspect. It worked for me enough, right? Did it blow me away?
Right.
Absolutely not. But when I sat there and looked at it, I was like, okay, cohesive tag team, check, right? Which we always expect from the Usos.
Always.
2, from a storytelling element, I can kind of follow along what's happening here, check. You know what I mean? And then 3, you're kind of bringing back a little bit of that nostalgia, which if you think about what the last 2 days have been in WrestleMania, there's been a lot of drawbacks to that Attitude Era type of timeline. And this kind of fits that narrative a little bit, albeit a bit of a reach, I admit. So you add all those things together and you say, hey, I don't necessarily dislike what they're doing. It's not blowing me away, but as somebody that's coming back into it, I'll give it a B-, B+.
There's something to be said for being easily recognizable.
Yeah.
On brand. 100% agree with you there. This is why you're here, pal. You have such great takes. I wouldn't have thought of it like that. To me, it just looked like a pair of joggers with their logo,
joggers. They are absolutely joggers.
But like that, to me, that's just like, I mean, okay. It's underwhelming to me personally.
Yeah,
I agree with you on the other stuff.
Flare out on where you're like, whoa, that's so different.
Right. Right. And I will say, to elaborate from earlier, that's not something I normally expect from them. I don't expect something wild and crazy or out of the box. I just expect a little bit different. That's all.
Right. I mean, a little variation.
Right. That variation.
Which, if you think about it, what we had across the ring in Nakamura and Boogs,
Lord.
Which again, I had no idea. I still have no idea who Boogs is. Right. Like, I mean, I know who he is in the sense that he's the guy that played guitar before he cut his hair.
Right.
But name change, I'm so far behind on Boogs. But very bold with our orange and yellow motif we had going with them. And they, in a lot of ways, just put it out there, man. I mean, you talk about, maximum voltage, taking this thing to 11. It wasn't a little orange, little yellow, and it certainly wasn't. It was a whole thing. It was the guitar. It was the accessories. It was, the uniforms, obviously. It was the entrance, right? Like everything screamed orange and yellow. And my question for you, Queen, is why?
Couldn't tell you. To me, this looks like a traffic accident.
Woof.
And I'm not trying to be rude. That's just, I see yellow caution tape and orange caution tape and orange cones.
We've been very
when I drive on the highway every day, that's what I see. So like the second they came out like that, I was like, wait a whole minute. Now, I'm going to try to be positive here. Okay. Sure. Cohesion, I like. I appreciate the attempt. Everything is coordinated. You can tell that they're a team. You can tell that their entrance is together. The guitar, as you mentioned, the accessories, everything goes together. I just don't like it.
No.
At all. I appreciate a bold pop of color, but this yellow trend that has been happening, we know how we feel about yellow. Okay.
It's been a miss for a while.
It's a miss for a while, and it's been a miss in a lot of what we're going to see a little bit later that we're going to talk about. I think only one set of people get it correct, and we'll get to that later. Mm-hmm. But I will say, for Shinsuke, at least it's better than that full bodysuit thing.
Yeah, but let me ask you
this. It's not great, but it's better.
Well, so here's the thing.
But is it? Okay, yeah.
I got two things.
Yeah.
Number one, we have a zipped up jacket from the back, leather jacket from the back.
Right.
Does that ever work?
No,
of course not.
Of course not.
So I mean, with the way he kind of flails when he comes out and his taunts and his unique I guess in-ring entrance moveset, right? Because that's really more of where my focus is. You get that flailing and how it kind of lays off his from his elbows down to his wrist is super loose, and then you kind of get that with the back flaps because the zipper comes down a little bit. Like, I understand kind of the flow of it.
Yep.
But does it ever work? And then how do you put it on? How do you take it off when nobody's around? There's a lot of unanswered questions there. More importantly, though, okay. And again, I know somebody out there that watches this more regularly, right? I'm going to stop saying that eventually. It has a reason for the lightning bolt, right? To be their signature icon, right? For this tag team. Nothing about their entrance. Again, so take it back to my Usos comment, right? About how me stepping back in for the first time as a casual, and I can kind of pick up where I left off with the Usos.
Right.
This is a brand new team to me. I have no idea who Boogs is. I don't even care. You know what I mean? Who Boogs is, in the sense of, as long as he can wrestle well, I'll become a fan. You know what I mean?
Right.
What the hell is with the lightning bolts?
I don't know.
I don't know. And I'm sure somebody out there like, oh, well, they did this thing. I don't know. Great. Like, fill me in. Hit me up on Twitter at Big Paws on a Pup and tell me why I should know more than I do. But my goodness, the big orange lightning bolt on the chest of Shinsuke's leather jacket, the way he had double lightning bolts on Boogs as he's jumping around with his guitar. I don't understand it, Queen. I didn't get it.
I don't get it either. And the only thing I thought of in regards to that was, well, I should say two things I thought of. I was like, Harry Potter. And also I thought, is it supposed to represent the screech of the violin guitar? Because that's so iconic in Shinsuke's music. I'm like, are we just like electric rock? Is that where we're going? That's the only thing I can associate. And I have no idea if I'm right.
Yeah, I'm sure I missed it, whatever it is. So I'll put that out there. But it was a miss for me.
It was a miss. And, the match was okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't great.
Yeah, no. And then Boogs got hurt. So I just kind of like chopped it up to like, okay, like I'm not going to hold, when somebody gets injured in a match like that, I just kind of hold court and say, you know what? Everybody gets a pass.
I agree. Everyone gets a pass. This next match, buddy. I wrote a note and I sent it to you.
Yes, you did.
I did. And it's, of course, we're talking about Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin.
Yep.
And if you've been following our journey, friends, with hashtag wrestling fashion, you know how I feel about Baron Corbin and his choices of clothing. But what I sent to JPQ was, at least it's not the best. It's
not the best. This is something you'll find me wearing. Do you know how many Panama Jack hats I own, Queen?
I mean, as you should.
Like 4. And 3 of them are kind of all the same. I love Panama Jack hats. I love floral Hawaiian shirts. I love white linen pants.
It's a great look.
I feel like Baron Corbin wore it for me.
Yes, he did.
He came to the ring, and I was just like, oh my goodness, we're coming back. We're doing wrestling fashion. And I got waiterless Corbin, and now I've got Panama Jack, wonderful Hawaiian vacation Corbin. And I'm just sitting here like, this is fantastic. He looks great. Have no clue who that dude is that's with him. But, for somebody that's jumping back into this, winner. big winner of the night for me. You know what I mean? Like this dude should be on, some type of Hawaiian island, telling me that I got to try their Mai Tais. And I love Mai Tais, Queen. You know what I mean?
I mean, so as you should.
Get me in front of the tiki bar. Let's have some drinks and let him tell me a story, because Panama Jack Corbin, I'm 100% in on.
Well, here's the funny thing. All I thought of was, let's give the man a coconut with an umbrella and a straw, give him a cigar, put him on one of those lounge chairs from the 80s that have that vinyl like strapped that looks like a window shade. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Let him lay back with the beach with a burnt tan and tell me the after effects of this Mania match, because of course he loses and he's no longer happy. Like that's the first thing that came to my brain. I was like, oh, this is like money. You could set him up for so many promos with this outfit. My problem with the outfit is not actually the outfit. I actually agree. He looks great.
Looks great.
The shirt is great. The pants are just tight enough.
Mm-hmm.
The shoes are all white, which I love an all white shoe with an all white pant. I know some people are like, meh, monochromatic colors. No. It's the white hat, the white pants, the white shoes, and the shirt is where your color is. Oh, I love that. The show. It's clean. The show. Yes, I love that. My problem is I don't understand why he's wearing it to wrestle. Like I'm trying to figure that out, which is my same problem with the vest. When he was no longer in the Authority, working for the Authority, or any part of any Authority figure, he was still wrestling in that goddamn vest. And I can't figure it out. Like, I know he's happy, and like, that's my happy place too. But this is like what he would wear for a promo in the ring for me. That's the street clothes.
Right.
What's the translation into the wrestling gear?
Sure.
Like they look like they're going out for some drinks at the tiki bar, like you mentioned. Great, I'm into that. But you're gonna go fight Drew McIntyre? Like it just doesn't feel or look, I think, the way that it should. Now I totally get it's supposed to be a comedy character, and like I'm in for that. I understand. And Mad Cat Moss, which I don't know who that is either. I don't understand I'm trying to think of what this look reminds me of. The long shorts with the suspenders. There's something in my brain. I just can't connect it. He's whatever, but
he kind of plays that Cabana Boy kind of role a little bit. Not a true Cabana Boy, but it's kind of like, I think the aesthetic works with what they're going for is really more what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But how apropos is it that we're sitting here talking about Baron Corbin, and I want to go on vacation with the guy and you hope he retires. Same outfit for both, but nevertheless.
Same outfit for both, but nevertheless.
Put this guy on a beach somewhere. Never want to hear from him again. Signed off, Queen.
Yeah, I'm into it. Just like go live your life happily somewhere else. I can't. But on the other side, Drew, which I didn't even put in my notes because it's nothing.
It's Drew.
It's just Drew being Drew, and nothing is special about it. The only thing that was cool is that the sword was sharp enough to cut some ropes. So like that's dangerous and a setup, but like it looked real.
It looked
decent. I thought for a gimmick where I'm going to use the sword to cut the ropes and make it look intimidating. I thought it looked good.
Yeah. I mean, complete look. Although less is more with him in a lot of ways.
Well, sure, I agree.
Which I mean, obviously, why, right? And I like the muted plaid that he had in the front.
Very muted, which is
just enough without telling you too much. Whether that's a slate gray or a brown, I couldn't really tell. Boring, it's kind of again, it kind of fits who he is, and the character he's kind of been playing, or so I'm told. And then I think his entire thing is that sword, right? So for him to make that accessory the big send off at the end of that match with cutting through the ropes and everything that he did, okay, you know what I mean, it worked for me. But he's a less is more guy. He did less, it worked for him. But it's again to kind of the overarching theme of this, the beginning of this show, nothing that stood out that would make you go wow.
Yeah, no. And I mean, at least he uses the sword very well. And I will say this about Baron Corbin. I liked how he was in NXT. I thought that whole aesthetic really fit him super well. But I will say, even though I like to make fun of him a lot, he makes the deep six look real good.
Yeah. And it was first time anybody kicked out of it, right?
Yeah. That's the thing of note in this match. That's a huge deal.
I was like the only, like, not that was the only takeaway, but I felt that was like, I like when streaks end. And I don't think it's easy to kill a streak, regardless of what kind of streak we're killing.
That's a big one to kill because no one ever has.
Right. And so you're at WrestleMania. It's a nod to Drew, knowing that he's in a singles match on night one against Baron Corbin. So if you're going to give Drew anything, you're giving him a streak beater. Okay. Not maybe what I would do with Drew, given the talent and the profile, but something, right? And that's me looking at, the glass half full the way I do.
Yeah. And the way you do, it's just so nice. Speaking of nice, let's talk about Mysterios versus Logan Paul and The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
I have several thoughts, but I'd love for you to go first, whichever duo you want to start with in this match.
I kind of like all four.
Okay.
Here's what I like.
Yep.
Jackets.
Oh,
I love jackets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that my primary promotion right now is Stardom, #Watch Stardom. And I'm big on the robes, right? You and I watch New Japan. We talk Okada, we talk Tanahashi constantly with their robes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have robes here. Well, you can make the case for Miz and Logan, I guess, to an extent.
Kind of.
But you had four people that had continuity over two tag teams and showed why that a cohesiveness in their outfits. And in a way, they both kind of told their own story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Dominic and Ray with the American throwback, Mexican throwback. Obviously, they're Mexican Americans, but they're where they were born, right? Dominic was born in the States. Ray was born in Mexico, right? And so they're kind of telling that story through their lineage, through their attire. Love that. On the opposite side, you've got Miz and Logan Paul with, I guess those aren't robes. I guess they just, well,
Miz's is the close.
Miz's is closer to a robe. Yeah. Playing off that Pikachu illustrious necklace, I guess, right? Player card, whatever it is, most expensive card,
most expensive Pokemon card. Mm-hmm.
And then they build their whole outfit around it on both sides. Fantastic. Again, I'm not looking for much. I'm just looking for something, you know what I mean, to bring these two together. I don't know. Has Logan Paul been on WWE TV for about 2 months now? Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. My goodness, these two came out and it looked like they should have been together, and they've been together for a while, and then it's all tied around the most expensive thing on all four of their bodies is on Logan Paul's neck, and it just resonated with me. I was like, okay, this works. I'm a big fan of this, and the black and white, the Pikachu kind of inspiration behind it worked in their favors. As far as wrestling fashion goes, tag team cohesiveness goes, I think everybody wins here.
I do as well. Jackets are also my favorite. I love a good jacket. It can really tie together an entire outfit, and it just means as the key word here is cohesive. It's a more cohesive wrestling fashion piece.
Right.
I love that. I appreciate people in this business who take the time to think about what goes on their body head to toe, as it tells so many different stories. And they could choose to just tell one, or they can choose to tell multiple. They can add layers to their character. It's important. And I really I will say I liked the fringe more on Ray than I did on Dominic, but that's because I think Dominic's it's two pieces, but it looks like one piece, like because of the belt thing. But I think I don't like where it was on his body.
Okay.
It felt more like skirt-like, where Ray's was very much on the sides.
Yeah, the fringe kind of sat a little
it's had a little fun in him. Also, he's
low.
just so tall. It's just like there's so much of this boy. But I really like the aesthetic. I loved the flags. I love the representation. I thought that was great. But for the men, it was Miz and Logan Paul all day for me that ran away with the wrestling fashion. The men really disappointed me this year, except for this one. Yeah. I don't like yellow. It's been very misused over the past couple of years. It's not the right hue. It's not the right combination. It's a racing stripe, but why? It's very confusing, or it's off-put with a different color that it just doesn't belong with. This was not that. I definitely got the Pikachu vibes, obviously, from the car, but to me, this is like Bumblebee, Transformers, very fashion-forward Balmain type feeling. The jacket on Logan Paul was exactly how those leather type jackets should be, in my opinion, even to the detail of that corset-like closure on the arm piece all the way down to almost his wrist.
Sure.
The popped collar, the way it sat, the straps, that just really hit for me. And he, of course, had the pants. The Miz has his normal regular trunks with that massively big coat robe jacket. And his normal, Mr. Miyagi headpiece type vibe. I always think Karate Kid when I see him doing that. They looked so good together, as if they've been tagging for years.
Yeah.
It was weird, jarring, because I don't like Logan Paul, the person.
Nah.
But his character with Miz, I was kind of surprised at how well they worked together. However, his character heel came out. He knew how to work a camera. It was bizarre to see that happen from someone that you don't associate with wrestling. Like, yes, I know he was a wrestler in his, high school and years.
Amateur wrestling.
Not like, right. It's not like pro wrestling. It's, wrestling that you would perform it when you're in the sport in high school. And he was a boxer, of course, but this was like, I was shocked. I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, I actually think I think this is probably one of the best. I think it started with Bad Bunny last year.
Yeah,
this was a great show for the celebrities that came on. Really, really strong performances from everybody. I like to say that people take things seriously. And what I mean by that is they showed up to work and earned their check.
Yeah,
right. Like they're not just here to pick up and do whatever. It's not Pete Rose getting, choke slammed by Kane 3 years in a row. It's they came in and they promoted it right. They did. They built a story, and then we had a payoff. Quick note as we move on through this, because I think Logan Paul, whatever, you know what I mean? Like I got YouTube literally 6 months before I started doing podcasts. Like I was so removed from anything social media based outside of Twitter prior to starting content that I had no idea who that guy was. Right. Still really don't. From what I've learned, not a huge fan of the guy, but he's not for me. Right. I'm older than when he was coming up. He has a whole completely different world that he's lived in with a different generation. So it is what it is. Quick note about the outfits for them that I really, really enjoyed. Yes. Primary color on the entrance gear, black with yellow accent, right? In the ring, take the jackets off, yellow is your primary with black accent. And just that little variation goes a long way for my eyeballs. So again, thought it was not just a cohesive look person to person, but I think from start to finish, ring gear plus entrance gear plus tag team cohesiveness, they knocked it out of the park this time.
Yeah, they really did. And you and I talk a lot about tag team cohesion and how important it is. Yeah. And there's other matches and other people that show up, especially on night 2, that I'm like, why are we here? Yeah. What are you doing? You don't even look like you're supposed to be together.
RK Bro.
Yeah. And they're like thrown together, them and Sheamus and Pete Dunne. I don't, his name's Butch, but that's not happening. Pete Dunne. And the other guy who, I don't know. I just know that he hurt Big E. That's all I know. His name, I have to look it up when we do it, but Holland last name, I don't remember the first name.
Ridge
Holland. There Ridge you go. Holland. I hate no tag team cohesion.
You didn't think that the Fight Club had cohesion? We'll get there.
The hats, yes. The rest, what?
We'll get there. I'm jumping ahead. Club kind of John.
Yeah, we'll get there. I don't like it. Anyway, on to what possibly was my favorite wrestling fashion moment of the weekend.
Peaked early.
Real early. And I still had Charlotte and Sasha to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think this is my number one. Man, Becky Lynch cut that hair. She came out of that Cadillac, that white Cadillac, in this all black. Lady Gaga meets Madonna meets Haley from Paramore. We put it together. I was done. The glasses, they were so futuristic. I loved the shape. It was almost like a goggle, but not quite that far. It reminded me so much of Gaga in Telephone. She has those that music video. She has that type of sunglasses on. The black. Oh, what a choice. I like stare at it. I'm staring at it now because I cannot get over it. The pointed shoulders, the pleather, the zippers, the fishnets, the Scarlet Witch boots made their return, but in black this time, embellished. We had a skirt that came out from the hip and back.
She had a train. She had a sheer train coming off of her. Come on now.
Tulle black sheer train. This bitch looked like $1 million. I cannot. I was staring at this going, I need to rewind that. I need to see that again. The way she came out of that car. And now a lot of this has to do with attitude. Whenever you wear some clothes, you have to be very confident in what you're wearing to put across that entire demeanor. But the red lip, it's that dark red too. It's the right color red with that hair. This hit on every single part, head to toe. Perfect wrestling fashion moment.
Yeah. I think this was definitely the top marks right now. I don't think that that's a doubt, right? In most people that look at this aspect of professional wrestling. Superstar, right? Queen of Drip, big Becky, bold bullshit. I don't know what her name is, but it's
big time
Becky showed up, right? And again, alluded to the character, right? Alluded to a champion, showed us that she's the queen of drip if Rollins is the king of drip, right? And she kind of played into that a little bit. Really enjoyed. I've never seen this type of Becky before.
Yeah.
Right. I've never seen the flat iron down hair. Right. I haven't seen the muted red lipstick. Definitely seen those boots before.
Yep.
Definitely saw them in red, to your point. Love the silhouette. Love the way the shoulders shaped out on that vest zip up, and love the train. Train was the win for me.
Right?
That
huge win.
Train coming off the back end just gave a little bit of elegance to what we were watching. Right. It just felt like, here's this badass, here's this, monster superstar, but there's a feminine quality to it too. Right. Like, we're not going to lose who we are by being a professional wrestler at WrestleMania. Right. We're going to bring a little softness into the fray with that train, and do it in a sexy way with the sheer aspect to it. So thought there was a lot of wins here. Glasses were on point. Attitude was there clearly. We knew we were going to get that. And it's just amazing to think about what she was, especially, and this is the fun part about going back to NXT and remembering her as more of that, steampunk Becky Lynch. And this is even prior to like the Irish lass.
Irish
Becky
lass
with
kicker,
the plaid. Right. Whatever she was. And then you see where she is now. And you look at that type of transformation over the last 10 years and you go, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, these horsewomen really just know how to match expectations and then exceed them in every aspect of what they do. This being probably, one of the apex looks that I've seen out of any of those four. Top marks for Becky.
Top marks. And to your point, thinking back to her in NXT days, that's the first thing Mr. Q said when she got out of that car. He goes, "Holy shit. Remember when she was steampunk Becky?" I'm like, I do.
He gets it. He knows.
He understands. It's just a moment. And I'm looking at this other picture of her on Twitter. She's holding the belt on the rope and she's got the one leg up. It's majestic. As far as fashion goes, I don't know how it gets better. I actually thought the under actual gear when she took everything off was great. The makeup is controversial. I've seen a lot of thoughts about that.
Sure.
The heavy red underneath. I don't hate it because of the stark black charcoal eyeliner that went all the way around and the larger lashes. It gave some dimension. It just clashed a lot with her hair because of the tone of the red eyeshadow. And I don't know if you know, you probably do, but other people don't. Red eyeshadow is actually extremely hard to make. It can be very chalky, and it does not blend very well. You have to have the right formula and only very specific eyeshadow palettes. Shout out to April. If you're listening, you could speak to this. She's my makeup girl. It could be real wrong real fast with red. I don't hate it. I don't love it, but I get why.
Right.
That's what I'll say about the makeup.
Yeah. I think, it was a bold choice.
Bold,
I don't know if I would classify it as a miss.
Right.
But definitely not the part that you remember about that look. Right. It's more on the profile coming out. Again, the way she came out of that, I guess, was that a stretch limo, if I remember correctly?
I believe it was a Cadillac Escalade.
Was it a Cadillac Escalade? Okay, yeah. That's the moment, right? Everything became secondary to that. The thing is that if you're not dealing with Ronda level eyeshadow, typically I'm going to give you a pass. So, but yeah, I could see where there's been some critique about that for sure.
But and arguably one of the most fun recent Mania entrances, Bianca Belair comes out with the marching band. Oh, you love to see it. And she comes out and it's giving drum major. It's giving leader of the pack, the bow. Oh, I loved the bow.
Texas, shout out to Texas Southern University.
That's right. They killed it.
Killed it. Yeah, they were great.
She looked great. The black pant, the faux garter belt type vibe up the
little bit
with the red from the knee all the way up. It gives it that illusion because there's cutouts.
Yeah, sure.
Like under the short part. The lips, of course, as the top cutout of her gear when she took off the jacket. Again, love a jacket. Loved that she had the elbow, or I guess bicep, but right above the elbow bicep sleeves.
Yes.
Loved that. The hair was great. The placement of the EST and the adornments. Bianca rarely misses for me. She's so talented. She makes a lot of her own stuff. How do you hate that?
Right. Yeah, I'm with you there. I really enjoyed her look overall for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like gimmick. I like shtick. So her whole thing is the ruby red lips, right? And she wore that as a top. And I think for the evolution of her WrestleMania appearances up to this point, I think that was a nice, again, bold, right? It's a statement piece, the statement top, right? To be red lips, but again, that's her logo, and so I thought that worked really, really well. Love the arm sleeves, big fan of the arm sleeves. Love the sheer quality to them too, and the netting aspect. Most importantly, I enjoyed the complete look with the dyed red hair. in the front and the bangs, but then tied through the ponytail, right? Like she does such a good job with such an absurd ponytail, right? It's never forgotten about, right? Because you could easily just not have done anything and people would just have accepted it, but it would have, it wouldn't there what's the word I'm looking for here?
Emphasis.
Emphasis. We can work with emphasis. It's that I don't want to use cohesion because we use it all the time, but it's the complete look aspect, right? Like it's
tying in.
Would have missed, right? Yeah, tying in. Perfect. Thank you. It tied it helped tie the look together. Yeah. And really where this kind of set off for me, because I wouldn't have put it it's not at the top, but I don't know if I put it above average. But then when she wins the title, and now she's holding a white title with the red raw background and the championship with that red aesthetic working through her costume, I was like, okay. I was like, you know what? This looks really, really well done, right? This looks complete. That title looks like it was meant for Bianca at the end of that match. That worked really, really well. So again, just a little bit of eye candy with regards to, the red and the red, the red, the black, the black, the black, you know what I mean? On Bianca. Then you've got the title ahead, above her, and it's kind of standing out, and you kind of look at that silhouette as they're going into whatever promo is next. I was like, this makes a lot of sense, right? And this is like one of those WrestleMania moments where you sit there, and I look at Bianca and I go, she's got Bayley next year.
Oh yeah.
She gets Charlotte the year after that, and then, not that she's going to retire, but then she goes down in the annals of history at WrestleMania of taking down the 4 horsewomen because she is the best, right? I really hope they tell that story. I think that's an interesting one to tell. So
yeah, and I would love that. She's got 2 down, 2 to go.
2 to go with, again, 2 titles being won. So there's some room to go here. So again, I wasn't there for Becky coming back and her losing the title and the build over the last X amount of months to get back to this, to reclaiming her throne, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, as somebody that punched in for the night, I saw exactly what I wanted to see. The pompous, arrogant, big time Bex get her comeuppance to Bianca off some BS. And again, nice little start. Thought it was going to, they teased that it could go a certain way like it did at SummerSlam. They pulled out of it. Then the match began, and it was just like, okay, you know what? This is a really, really good match for 3rd or 4th on the card, night 1 of WrestleMania. Really happy with it. Happy with the positioning. Thought they showed up and they did their jobs. It wasn't a barn burner, right? But above average for sure.
Yeah, for me, it was one of my favorite matches of Mania, if not my favorite.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I really liked the story. I think that's the story they told in the ring with the almost repeating Rumble at the beginning, taking it in 26 seconds again. I like that call. I like a good callback in a match where it means something to what's happening here. And for me, Becky got more and more unhinged as it went along, and I just feel like it was great. I wouldn't call it like, the most technically beautiful match I've ever seen in my life, but
it's probably the best women's match ever the 2 nights.
I think so. It was the best women's match,
and it was better than most of the men. Let's be honest.
See, that's my point. I think it's pretty much my favorite match of WrestleMania weekend.
Right.
For that reason, I thought it was well paced. It felt good. Had a great start. I mean, I think the entrances set the tone, and they delivered in that respect.
And
so for me,
it certainly did. And I don't want to sound like a pretentious douche. It was a fantastic match, right? And it certainly is top tier of the 2 nights, right? Is it as good as Sasha versus Bianca? Take the WrestleMania, the main event moment out of it, and the importance of what that match meant to so many people. Take that aspect of it and just look at it from a wrestling aspect. Was it as good as Sasha versus Bianca the year before? I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Was it a bad match? No, not by any stretch. It was a very good match. It's just, you look at it and you go, definitely the best women's match.
Yep.
Definitely one of the best matches overall. But I think I got Sasha versus Bianca rated a little higher.
And I think as the story continues, that one was going to be hard to beat.
I think so too. It's
even with hard. Charlotte and Bayley, especially
even
Charlotte.
When you take even when you take the importance of, even when you put the importance of what that WrestleMania main event meant last year back into the fray, without a doubt, it smokes pretty much everything. But if you take it out, you just look at it from like, okay, this is a wrestling match, right?
Yeah.
Those two ladies last year went out there and crushed it. You know what I mean? They just straight up crushed it.
Killed it.
And again, they did their jobs, and they did a wonderful job this time around too. But slightly, I'm going to give it to Sasha and Bianca.
Yeah, as you should. Agreed. Concurred. All right, buddy. Listen, I got to ask this because ever since this moment happened, I've been dying to talk to you.
Yeah.
To preface this, as you mentioned earlier, Seth is the king of drip. Is that the appropriate nickname?
I
know.
Okay.
I hate it. Is he the drip king? No, in my opinion. But he has had some good suits. They have been interesting. Some of them are beyond. But this, I don't know what I'm looking at. What am I looking at when I see Seth Rollins enter at WrestleMania? What is this? Is this black Hardy Boy Hot Topic-esque chainmail? What's happening?
Yeah, it's actually not a bad way of looking at it. The chainmail comments actually that kind of threw me off for a minute.
Oh, sorry, pal, but that's all I see when I look at it.
Right.
But also, there's this V that has blue trim.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What is the cutouts on the pants that are of the same type material as the shirt, but more sheer? I'm very confused.
If I'm being a little honest, I was actually a little disappointed.
Yeah, same.
I kind of expected more. No. I'm okay with the look.
Oh, I'm not. Oh, okay.
But I expected a little bit more. Like I wanted pattern on the sheer, right? Like I know it's got kind of that, like it's almost got that little grid focus on it with whether they're bedazzled jewels or whatever. But I was looking for more of like a floral print, right? Or like a chiffon or something. Give me something. You know what I mean? Of some type of texture on top of the sheer if you're going to wear sheer. Doesn't have to be big and bold, right? It doesn't have to be like these big, whatever leaves or floral prints or whatever. Just make them smaller and just make a lot of them. But give me a little bit more pattern than what you gave me. I thought where he lost it for me in the top specifically is that it felt like a grid, right? My eyes got drawn to the jewels when my eyes should be drawn to the fact that this man is wearing, the grown-ass man's wearing sheer, right, on the grandest stage of them all, right? He's wearing blue fur, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, sparkly blue fur.
But I'm too focused on trying to figure out the pattern in the middle because it's running parallel, it's running horizontal, and I'm seeing a box shape. I think that's where it kind of lost it for me. I love the confidence, right? I don't understand drip, but I respect it, right? I think a little goes a long way. And this dude taking this thing to 11, and so I understand it. But even if, like, here's where I think we had a misstop. If you look at the back of his entrance jacket, that blue with the pattern on the back, that pattern could have been recreated on the sheer. So when he took it off, because I'm a big patterns guy, right? I love pattern suits. I love people that have the confidence of pulling that off. I love that aqua blue color, and I love it with black, right? I think it really pops. So there's a lot of wins in this look overall, but I just felt like when he took that jacket off and that pattern on the back of the jacket didn't meet the pattern on the sheer, I looked at it as a missed opportunity, right? Because I thought,
huge,
this is how the King of Drip should look, or whatever that he calls himself. And I just thought it was it was expecting a little bit something different, but I didn't hate this by any stretch of the imagination. Actually, I thought it was a little bit more reserved than what I thought we were going to get from him. I mean, look at Monday Night Raw when he wore like a pink suit.
Yeah, but that was leaps and bounds better than this.
Well, it depends on if you like sheer or not, right? Like I'm not against sheer.
I'm not against sheer either. Fan. I'm against the 17 different patterons that are hitting me.
There are so many patterns. That is true.
And
the
textures,
patterns are
it's
different.
too much.
The texture is different in the pants. It's true. There's a lot going on.
You need it. Listen, there's a way to go crazy.
A little too much, you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, just take the robe off. That alone is a lot of texture and shine and layers. That's a lot. So why isn't the coat just plain same color blue fur and a pattern that matches on the rest of the robe? It's too many things happening. It's like, let me throw the entire kitchen sink at this outfit and let's see what happens. It almost looks like blue plaid, even though it's not. That's what's throwing me off.
The like, tie downs on the around the chest with the blue collar too doesn't really work.
I hate that. I hate it. I really hate it. This made me like, it made me like Baron Corbin. I'm like, bring back the Hawaiian shirt. Like, I'm into that more than I'm into this. I don't understand it. And what story is this telling me? I don't see any drip guy here. I saw that in his suit on the Raw after Mania. I really liked that suit. That fit. What is this? What does this tell me about Seth Rollins other than he's a nutcase?
Right. He's a nutcase.
Well, that's what it looks like to me. That manic laugh is nutcase laugh. I don't know. Hated that. And you know what I hated even more?
Cody being Cody.
Fucking Cody being fucking Cody and coming out in his same fucking goddamn gear I just saw him in 2 months ago. This same thing.
The man's been unemployed. You expect him to go out and get new.
He was not unemployed. He was on his goddamn TBS or whatever TV show. For a man as full as himself as Cody Rhodes is, you're telling me he can come up with another gear?
He's got a baby, you know.
Listen,
a lot of diapers.
I understand.
A lot going on.
It's happening in my life right now. I understand.
Not everybody's got WrestleMania money.
Well, right? He does now, doesn't he?
Well, he will. Yeah. Once he gets over that downside guarantee, that dude's off the races. At that point, who would have thought Cody Rhodes coming back?
Never would have called that on my 2022 bingo card.
I love it. I love that he's back. Good for him.
I mean, listen, follow your bliss. Do you?
Salt.
Dude, here's the thing. Okay. Everything about this was AEW Cody coming in as WWE Cody. The logo, the song, the smoke, the rising from the stage, the gear, the weight belt, kissing the belt and throwing it into the crowd, kissing the mat when he's done with his match. That is exactly what we've seen from him where he just was. I don't know. Is that intentional?
Oh, yeah.
And if so, what does that mean?
It means Cody Rhodes is above brands. In my opinion. He's above brands, right? Cody Rhodes is a brand. American Nightmare is his own brand. That's why you get a neck tattoo with a half skeleton of your face.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like with wings coming out of it.
Yep.
It's no different than, you know, I know we like to draw parallels and then people get all outraged because how dare you? Like we were talking about somebody's legacy. Relax. It's like Hogan going to WCW before he went NWO.
Sure.
Right. And he was the red and the red and yellow. And yes, it's not a direct parallel because Cody was never as big as Hogan, although fuck Hogan.
Yeah, fuck him.
Yeah, right. So who gives a shit?
No.
But it's one of those things where that dude's brand transcends the wrestler. And when you make it to that point, it doesn't matter who you wrestle for. You're going to be Cody Rhodes' American Nightmare no matter where you go. And he's accomplished that. Now, whether that was his goal when he left WWE, and now he's coming back and kind of leaning into that a little bit, and people are calling him traitors and all this other crap that just on the internet because people's emotions are way too invested in this stuff.
Very
sometimes.
Much so.
But the fact of the matter is that this dude left WWE, was able to create enough traction on the independent scene to garner the interest of a backer, right? With the help of Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks to put on a show to ultimately show that they could run a show to some degree. And once that got up and running, Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, the businessman, decided that I'm going to go take my brand, right? Which he shopped. This is the same fucker that we saw over in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
100%.
Right? Except without the dyed hair.
Yep.
There's the same guy we saw in Ring of Honor. This is the same guy that we saw on the independent scene. And this is the same guy we saw in AEW. And now he gets to come back, not as some shit jobber, not as some dashing douchebag, but he gets to come back as Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare, and be the guy that he said he was when he left WWE X amount of years ago. And whether you like that narrative, you don't like that narrative, it does not matter, because the American Nightmare is a brand now. And it's a brand that will produce money for WWE. So as long as money is coming in on Cody Rhodes will continue to be the American Nightmare. If that settles down, then he'll go back to being Schmuck McSmuckerson in the mid card 18 months from now. And you know what? So be it, because who cares, right?
No,
this whole thing with Cody and okay, so let me bring that back. So when he showed up the way he did, with his song, with his logo, with his entrance, right, with his look not being disturbed since the last time we saw him on professional wrestling television, I looked at my screen and I said, hell fucking yes. Excuse my language. I was so excited for this Cody, because this is what Cody wanted, right? Cody wants to be known as one of the GOATs, right? Is he? No. I don't know if it ever will be. No. But he wants to be known as one of the GOATs. He wants to be known as part of one of the first wrestling families. He wants the legacy of the Rhodes name to be, as important, right, as the McMahons, right? And he wants the legacy of his family to outlive him.
Well,
and
it says it in his entrance music.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And so you don't do that, right, by changing your character. Now you could say, well, you don't do that by going back to WWE. Fine. But if you go back to WWE, you don't go back being a WWE character. You go back being Cody Rhodes, and then they treat you as Cody Rhodes. And at least for this WrestleMania moment, that seemed to happen. It also seemed to happen on the night after Raw too, although I didn't watch it. I did like the way that he opened it with, what do you want to talk about? I love that type of continuity with a character over promotions.
Yeah, he's done it everywhere.
Yes, I find that to be, super, super exciting as a fan to see. Now, can this guy get this character over in the place that didn't want him to do it the first time around? Can he be a main eventer at WrestleMania? Or can he be a main eventer at WWE? I don't know, but I'm more interested in figuring it out now than I ever was with him in AEW, because I didn't want him to be champion in AEW. But I do want him to be champion in WWE. Not that I'm going to watch either way. But if he could do it, then this 7-year plan that he supposedly had, right, regardless of it being a very clever storytell or the actual truth, is irrelevant to me, because it's professional storytelling. And as long as the story is good, we will spend our money to watch it.
Sure. And I think that's a great point. I just think for me, it's been like, I'm very much, do you, whatever it is you want to do it. You get one life. Never speak in absolutes unless you're really sure. And that's it. Because
that's pro wrestling.
Yeah, no, but I think just like as a life rule, don't do it to yourself. Give yourself the option of, maybe this isn't meant for me now, but I can potentially revisit it later.
Oh, you're saying never say never.
Never say never.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
because when you say things like, I'll never talk to so-and-so again, I'll never go back to this job. Some things we should permanently leave in the past. There are some things that maybe aren't meant for you in the moment, but could be meant for you later. As evidenced by this. If this is what really is going on, great. And if, as you said, if not, also great, as long as the story's good.
Yeah.
I just think for me, it's a little bit of my own BS, because I want to root for the guy that left WWE, went to New Japan, went to Ring of Honor, teamed with the Bucks and Kenny, and created AEW. I want to root for that guy because I really like what came out of it.
Did you ever though? Like, I guess at the beginning of AEW in the honeymoon period and all that.
I never liked Cody for the last year.
Not for the last year. Let's take it back. So and again, and you know, I don't want this to be directional, right?
That's all right.
But I can remember a time when you and I were watching King of Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
And there was a triple threat match between Ibushi, Omega, and Cody Rhodes, right? And I believe, and if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. We watched it live.
We did.
We hated Cody in that match. After the match, and they're doing the whole you and me and him, and hey, we should make this a thing, and the whole Cody shtick that he does. I was pro Bucks. I was pro Omega. I was pro Ibushi. Fuck Cody Rhodes. Right? Yeah. When he was the Ring of Honor champion, he played a heel.
And it's the way he should be.
Fuck Cody Rhodes. Right now, man, I like this match, but that's the point, right? Is the character. It was always, no, boo, this guy. Once AEW started, and you kind of saw behind the curtain a little bit, and they're gaining all this traction, and then he's kind of throwing his shots at WWE, which I get that fans get offended. I always kind of laughed at it. I was like, this is great. This is theater. Funny, you know what I mean? Right. Yeah. You know, crack a beer, crack a smile type of thing. It's, you look at that and you go, okay, like, so there was a little bit of a honeymoon through that period. Sure. Because we got something new and it's exciting and he's kind of helped forefronting it. And he played the executive role pretty decently. And now you look at it, right? And you say, well, that makes, now him returning back to WWE, I now have AEW. I have an independent scene that's coming up, right? Kind of like the I don't want to call them a junior squad, but you know, they got pulled up, they got picked apart by WWE and AEW over the pandemic. So we're kind of seeing a rebirth in a lot of ways of the independent scene. We have Cody back in WWE. You know what I mean? So I kind of get my cake and I got to eat it too. Cody doesn't need to be part of what I watch anymore, you know, but if I do want to watch him, I know I'm going to get the Cody that I've noticed for the last 2 years. And that's a compromise. Sure. Right? That's a decent compromise for me because they didn't change everything about the guy. You know what I mean? And I thought that was a really, really good decision. So from a fashion aspect, you know, there's much more better, you know, things he could have done. I'm not a huge Rivet fan on the jackets. Again, I've always looked at this look specifically as being more of a knockoff of Juice Robinson's American patriotic theme. And you know where I fall on that.
Well, look overall, at that. 2 B+ players.
Yeah. Yes. But for Cody, the wrestler, for Cody, the storyteller, sure. Like I'll jump on this ride. Why not?
Wow. There's certainly a lot to talk about with that, but I can tell you what else disgusts me, and that's Ronda Rousey's makeup, which hasn't fucking gotten any better.
It is. She looked mad when she came out. I was like, oh no, that's her makeup. I'm like, oh wait, no, those are her eyebrows. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Why is she so mad? It's WrestleMania, and she's smiling. Yes. I don't know what's happening. It's bare minimum bullshit. Yes. Tired of it. It hasn't gotten any better. It's the same jacket. It's the same top. It's the same Roddy Piper skirt. It's the baddest woman on the planet. Piper, but black and white graphic. It's a snoozer, right? Snoozer. There's nothing about that look that I like. I appreciate that the eyeshadow wasn't as super bold, as prominent, but I mean, they toned that down, which is good. But again, when she came walking to the ring, I was like, wait, is she mad? Wait, what's up with her eyebrows? Wait, that's makeup. Shit. That shouldn't be what I'm thinking when you're walking to the ring. Although I'm not a big Ronda fan as it is, so whatever. I'm not either. I don't like her as a person or as a wrestler. I want to be able to enjoy her on the screen, but all I think of is we're going to be pulling on the shorts again, and I don't understand why we're doing this with the makeup. There's a way to do a nice smoky bold eye without that. Right. And you could find a basic tutorial on YouTube. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. What I do get, though, is Miss Shar with this beautifully matched blue to blue championship belt to outfit. Every inch a queen. I thought her makeup and hair was the best it's looked in a long time.
She just carried herself with her usual confidence, but it felt good. This entrance felt good. I
Thoughts
really
on the
liked
cones?
it. It's like Maleficent-ish to me.
Okay.
I don't necessarily like it because the shape is very much a cone from Michael's, the craft store.
Yeah, sure, a little foam cone.
You know what I'm saying? Little foam cone.
Yeah.
If they had a little bit more detail or were woven a little more sympathetically to the robe, I think it would do it a better service.
Like a white wire almost, maybe.
Right. Yeah. Give me some, how in some of her robes, she has like that fan type of hood.
Yeah,
sometimes
like
it's
like
feathers
crest
or
thing, yeah.
It's like, it's a little something. If she had done something with like white, silver wire to create that halo behind her head with the cones, I think it would have been more cohesive. It alludes to, the queen vibe. I think that would have helped the cones. I get the aesthetic. It's almost like devil horns, but it's not where it needs to be to meet the rest of the pageantry we're getting.
Right. I can't figure it out. I think that's the only thing I don't like about it. I actually don't mind the silhouette so much. Because you're weaved in, you know what I mean, to the hair.
Yeah.
And then you have to throw the hair over the shoulder on the right side. When she's walking out, you're missing the symmetry of the cones on either shoulder. I think that missed a little bit. I feel like I'm missing something.
Okay.
So I'm willing to give the cones a pass because I do like the royal blue.
Yep.
I do like how the blue works with the title. I do like the little crown on the neck band of the robe. It's a nice little touch. But at the bottom, as she's walking in, she's kind of got her robe curtsied out, right? And what do you see at the bottom?
Black and blue
shoes. But what do you see to the outside of that? Like straight down from her hands.
White, but you can't see it on one side because she doesn't have it opened correctly.
You see cones.
Yeah, you've seen cones.
Right? They're cones. So what are the cones? Right. That was what I was driving the entire time. I was like, what am I looking at here? The cones mean something, and I don't know what they mean. But you don't come out the robe holding it that way because if you're not trying to show the cones, because the cones don't show otherwise.
Right.
So I'm missing something. And I'm willing to put it on myself. Thought the sequins were nice. Here's the part of it that I thought was interesting. The cut of the bottoms, right? The cut of her shorts.
Sure.
Very reminiscent in my mind of the cut of Ric Flair's shorts, right? Or his tights, right?
Yeah.
How it's kind of like almost like that little bit of a boy short in the front, not so much the back, right? But it's kind of got that boy short vibe to it, where it kind of goes a little bit down the thigh, like half an inch before it cuts in. And I saw that, I was like, that's a flare cut. You know what I mean? And I'm like, she's wearing a flare cut. I thought that was really interesting, right? I was like, that's a neat little, I don't know if that's on purpose or not, or it was just kind of the as she was walking to the ring and the way it kind of felt. But just like her dad, he kind of had the same cut on his tights. Charlotte had that going too, and I thought that was a really neat. If that was on purpose, which I'm not saying it was, but if it was, small detail, big difference.
Yeah, I agree. It's a nice. I see again with the callbacks. We love a nice little callback. We love a nod. Just a little whoop. There you go.
Tip of the hat. Boom.
And you have to really pay attention because some people really sneak that kind of stuff in there. So that's excellent. Match was meh. I could have done without it, to be honest.
It was a tough one. It's one of those things where it's like, I sit there and I go, I know why Ronda and Charlotte were placed at this point in the card.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Which was the co-main.
Yep.
But it had no business being the co-main.
No.
And again, with the type of wrestling I watch, which is more on the Puro side and more on the Joshi side, we tend to have a bit of a build, and your co-main maybe not as important as your main event, but it's the lead up to. It's the second best match, or supposed to be the second best match of the card, as you're building to the main event.
Yes.
They treated Ronda Charlotte like a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
And I think it's because they knew it wasn't going to be very good, because you look at what else you had, and everything else kind of hit outside of the, and again, I give a pass. You're not going to put Corbin Drew there.
No.
And Usos, Shinsuke get a pass because Boogs got hurt. But you look at the rest of the card and you go, okay, banger, banger, banger. And where they weren't like top-notch 5-star quality, blah, blah, blah. It was a spectacle matches. Mm-hmm. And so I was hoping for a spectacle match out of this, but instead what we got was Charlotte doing her best to make Ronda look good. But the way you make Ronda look good is by putting in there with people that aren't usually the show, right?
Yeah.
Like, you use Asuka, you use Sasha, you use Bayley, right? Charlotte is your show, right? Charlotte goes in and she can certainly mix it up, but she's not there to lead the dance, right?
No.
She's there to perform.
She's the dancer.
Right. She's the dancer. She knows how to entertain.
Lead.
You know what I mean? Like she's the superstar. You know what I mean? The other ones are too, but they all, I think they can lead a match a little bit better. She had to lead this match. Ronda's just too left feet when it comes to pro wrestling. I don't even really fault her for it. I mean, she does it like once every 18 months and she's only in the ring for X amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't know how committed to the craft she is. Between her, Logan Paul, Pat McAfee, who you probably should get, probably doesn't really count because he's signed by them, but nevertheless, and Johnny Knoxville, she was the least impressive celebrity, of the two nights. Yeah. And I think that was shown in great spades in this match. So unfortunately, great look from Charlotte, WrestleMania moment. She got the big ticket match against the big ticket star for sure. Ain't no way she main eventing WrestleMania. And unfortunately, it came off more of a palate cleanser match instead of a co-main build. You put Becky and Bianca in this spot, we could be talking about, one of the best 1-2 punches in WrestleMania recent history. You know what I mean? To end the show. I think it's a miss. I get why they did it. I just think it's a miss.
It's a huge miss.
Yeah.
And disappointing. But what wasn't disappointing is the KO show featuring Stone Cold Steve Austin coming back in his t-shirt, jeans, knee braces and all, ready to fight Kevin Owens.
Let's go.
No fashion moments to speak of here, of course.
Nah.
What are you going to say?
T-shirt versus t-shirt, man.
T-shirt versus t-shirt and Icon versus Kevin Owens, which is just one of the best in the game. And what a moment for KO. What a story. What a payoff. Meeting your hero, getting to work in the ring with your hero. After 19 years, Stone Cold enters the ring to fight instead of make appearances.
Right.
And he did a no-holds-barred match. He took a bump on the concrete. What's happening?
How about it?
Again,
how about it?
Not on my 2022 bingo card for wrestling.
No.
Not at all. Really enjoyed the whole thing. Thought it was great.
Stone Cold had the best shirt of all time because we're speaking wrestling fashion. Right?
Have to.
I think the year was 2002, 2001. And he had a shirt that said, "Been there, destroyed that." And then on the back, it just said Austin 316. To this day, that is still one of my favorite shirts of all time, because just the idea of wherever you go, right? Yeah. You're just the life of the part. Like you're the guy, right? Always sat with me. And it was very simple. Black t-shirt, white writing, been there, destroyed that. And then on the back, Austin 316. It's just everything that, Stone Cold is. And I know he's your favorite wrestler. He's your guy.
Yeah.
We got that nostalgia and we got it in a respectful way. Yeah. What I've always appreciated about Stone Cold in his interviews, his biopics, his long form books, whatever, is that he always talked about wanting to give, always trying to make the right business move, except for that one time. Yeah. But at the same time, knowing that there's a certain expectation from the Stone Cold Steve Austin character. Yeah. And if he couldn't replicate it to a serviceable level, he was never going to come back.
Yep.
I don't know if a 57-year-old Steve Austin matched the expectation of what Stone Cold Steve Austin from 2001 was. But I will tell you is it was pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Not from like an athleticism standpoint, but from getting in there and putting on 15 to 17 minutes, however long it was.
Yeah.
Type of match against Kevin Owens in a brawl for all. Well, not a brawl for all, but in a brawler kind of match where they kind of go all over the place. I just felt it worked. I wasn't watching a 57-year-old guy with neck and back issues getting in the ring and Kevin Owens taking it easy on him, right? It wasn't, and no disrespect to Vince in this sense with Pat McAfee, but it wasn't some bullshit lariats in the middle of the ring with Pat McAfee flopping around like a fish, right? I get why they did that. That's its own thing. That could have been what this was. Sure. It wasn't. This was Stone Cold stomping a mud hole in fucking Kevin's ass, and the rattlesnake was back. And I think if you're going to do justice to Stone Cold and you're going to bring him back for a match at 57 years old, I don't know if I could have asked for more than what we got, especially to end WrestleMania.
Yeah, to end WrestleMania on that note, and to hear him give his line and drink his beers and just laugh. The only way Stone Cold can laugh. It's huge. It's a big deal, and not something I thought I'd see ever again. No. So for that, I have to love it. And that rounds out night 1. And I'll tell you, that was the best of the fashion, except for a few things. Yes. Night 2 has a few things.
Oh, yeah. We should roll through night 2 a little bit faster.
Because night 2 is a lot faster to go through because the fashion is, for some of them, like non-existent. It's just like a black tank top or red and black pants. Like, what's happening? I don't know. Right. But we kick off night 2. Triple H gives his boot in the ring to officially retire due to his health issues. And we start off with a tag match. Randy Orton and that other guy, Street Profits and Alpha Academy. I don't know. I don't know. What? I guess they kind of ish go together. It's black.
I love Randy Orton and I hate Matt Riddle. So,
big time.
So fuck them. You know what I mean?
Fuck
in this instance, in Randy Orton, I'll pay attention to you back when you're not chilling with Matt Riddle anymore. Street Profits. It's not that it's not good. It's fine. I like the gold. I like the sequins.
It's sparkly, yeah.
It's just the same thing, just with gold sparkling. Like the only thing that changed was that it's a little bit more sparkly than what we're accustomed to from the. But again, it's the same, a short combo and tank top. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing about there's no variation to that. So not to say they phoned it in. Again, you are what your characters are, and I'm sure they don't have a whole bunch of say in what they're doing from a fashion perspective, outside of color scheme, etc. American Alpha, the most not as they're just as cohesive as Street Profits, but it's the same thing. Like
it is boring.
It's boring. I don't know if these are different uniforms than what they wear on SmackDown. At least with Street Profits, I can sit here and say, well, it's bedazzled as shit. You know what I mean? It's sparkly as fuck. This might be new. You know what I mean? It's champagne color, right? We're here to win a championship.
Sure.
Okay. You know what I mean? Like I get it on some level, albeit there's not enough variation for me to give it a top look grade.
Right.
American Alpha, they could be wearing that stuff on Friday, unless they wrestle on Monday, in which case they could wear it on a Monday. There's nothing that screams to me, or that there's nothing I look at here. It's got to be Fridays, right? Mondays. That was for the Raw tag team titles, right?
Yes. So it's Mondays.
So it's Monday night. They could be wearing that last night, and I wouldn't be the wiser, right? And that's disappointing for everything that we're talking about, because this is the Wrestle Fashion episode. I want to hype my amateur wrestlers, right? I want to hype Gable, or not Gable,
Otis?
Shorty G. What the hell is his name? Is that Gable?
Yeah, Chad Gable.
Oh, Chad Gable. There you go.
Yeah, you're right.
I want to hype that cat. But he doesn't look any different than he did before, right? Minus the haircut from years ago.
Yeah, exact same.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, and like I know from catching a still from previous SmackDowns, it's this gear, but the red is prominent and the black isn't.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing.
I believe
so is boring. And Randy never wears anything interesting. It's just how he is.
And that's on his ass, and that's about it.
And that's also fine because I expect that. But boring. And then we go from that boring, at least some attempts, to what the fuck? Omos is just wearing all black. It means nothing. And Bobby's wearing half black, half red.
Right.
Okay. What's different than Monday nights? Nothing. Zero.
Yeah, I don't know if the red's new for Bobby. All I can tell you is that I like Bobby in trunks.
I like him better in trunks.
I like Bobby in trunks. You don't work that hard on your body to hide it with pants.
Yeah, no, man. Show the thighs off, honey. The quads.
Get the quads going.
Let them go.
Let me see that calf muscle. You know what I mean? You're the one doing the calf lifts. I want to appreciate the calf lifts. Right?
Yep.
I'm okay with almost overall. It's not, I can't tell you that first of all, it's not a standout by any stretch.
Not at all.
And I can't tell you that it's any different than what he does on SmackDown.
It's not.
What I can tell you, okay, so it's not like that's what he wears out.
Yep.
Okay. Where I think it worked as a casual coming in, because the last time I saw him he was winning the tag titles with AJ Styles. Right. That was my last reference point with that guy. He is such an imposing, physical, just sports entertainer. You know what I mean? Like he's a spectacle within himself. You know what I mean? With what he is. He's like Braun, but like way better than Braun. In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't like Braun. Because of that, I like that he stayed muted with his attire because I wanted him to be the show. If there's no variation than what he was when he's on cable television, okay, well then that's a misstep, right? Because you got to give him a little something. But where we talk less is more sometimes with like a Drew McIntyre.
Sure.
Less accessories or more with Omos because he's the accessory, right?
Yeah.
That dude
he's so huge.
Show.
Yeah.
He's a show. Yeah. He's just, it's like the Big Show coming out and always wearing the one strap leotard.
Yeah.
I didn't need anything more from the Big Show because the Big Show is this monster character. That's how I look at Omos, right?
I agree.
But if you're telling me there's zero variation, then you need a little something. So come on, it's WrestleMania.
Maybe that's my thing.
Make it stupendous.
Make it stupendous. God damn it. You said it enough. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand it. It just is like, just another day at the office. Well, not really.
No,
it's not. Just disappointing. Same with the next one, really. Sami Zayn is in black and white.
Did you like the match? Did you like? I mean, the tag match I didn't enjoy because I don't enjoy triple threat. You really have to have a good triple threat title match in any capacity for me to really like it.
I prefer triple threats with ladders.
Yeah, it was fine for what it was. Didn't do anything for me. Didn't hate Omos versus the Almighty, but it didn't wow me either. It was just kind of another match.
Lackluster.
Yeah.
Lackluster. Nothing really to say.
Gotcha.
Other than the right person was victorious. That's it.
Yeah, sure. I don't think I remember who won. Was it Omos?
Bobby.
Good.
And then Sammy, the next match is versus Johnny Knoxville, which is of course going to be gimmick filled and jackass pranks and all that stuff.
Adored it.
I mean, it is what it is.
It was my favorite. It was probably like one of my, I'm not gonna call it top looks, although I'll make a case for Johnny. But my goodness, was it it was fantastic. And again, that match ain't for everybody, and I know that. Right?
Yeah.
But my goodness, that I just think it goes back to when people that are not part of the wrestling industry come in and do wrestling stuff.
Yeah.
I want them to treat it with care.
Sure.
And I think the biggest standout for me wasn't how good of a match it was.
No.
Although I rated it like an A-. I was like, I love it for what it is.
Sure.
It's that the timing was well done. The run-ins were smart. The camera angles on the spots, not Kevin Dunn's 15, cuts and 15-second BS, but like not knowing that the hand was present until the hand hits the Sami Zayn. Like I just felt it was good. The way Wee Man comes out and does his thing and Party Boy comes in, and I just felt like it was when you're dealing with jackass guys, first and foremost, but when you're dealing with, and they're entertainers, but still, for them to have the timing down, right, to be able to make this work in a way that felt complete, start to finish, I thought was really, really well done. Yeah, there's always going to be a little bit of downtime when you're bringing a huge ass mousetrap and you're throwing it into the ring and you're trying to set that up and it's a PVC thing. Yeah, it's kitschy as hell.
Sure.
But man, that shit can really go south fast. And for them to be able to do that and make it feel like it was like, again, that it was that the train took off from the station and then came to a complete stop at the destination. I just felt that's where the victory of that type of match was. And then Sami Zayn selling. I mean, come on.
It's great.
If his goofiness with the way he took all those shenanigans and the way, Johnny kind of played into it, I just felt it was, it's reminiscent from somebody that grew up outside Westchester and has, connections to the Bam Margera's and that whole group for a long time, the CKY vibes back in the day. Like, that's my generation type of stuff. Sure I'm not saying they're all good guys, and I'm not saying anybody should revere any of those cats. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like that was an integral part of me growing up. Jackass was an integral part of me growing up, and it happened in my backyard. Right? Yeah. And so to see some of these cats, move on to something like this and it to be done to the level that it was, which again isn't great, but it's good enough. That was a lot of wins there for me. You know what I mean? And and again, I look at it as being for those reasons, it being one of the great matches. From a fashion perspective, nothing about this was a W. Except Johnny's gray hair kind of works.
Yeah, it works for him. Yeah, that looked good.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I liked. The rest, I just thought it's like Quail Man meets the Hamburglar.
A little bit. Yeah, Quail Man's a good pull.
I love Quail Man, but not as cool. Quail Man's awesome.
He is.
So yeah, I mean, I can only echo what you said. Wasn't for me, but I understand its appeal. And right. I thought the timing was great. It worked out very well for what it was. And it was very much so for entertainment purposes. But as we mentioned, there's really no fashion to speak of until we get to the ladies and maybe one or two more little things. But, okay. So Fatal 4-Way Women's Tag. Sasha, Naomi, Boss and Glow, Liv and Rhea, Natty and Shayna, which is just such an interesting pairing, and Zelina and Mella. I mean, there was some good shit in here, pal.
Yes.
Sasha coming out in that Lambo, as Sasha should. I mean, what else can I say? The blue, green hair.
Is that a Lambo?
Yeah. I thought so. Am I wrong?
I mean, you might not. I mean, I don't have a reference.
I'm pretty sure it's
right
Lamborghini.
now to pull it. It could have been. I thought it was Ferrari. I could be wrong.
Oh, no, listen. Maybe it is a Ferrari.
It doesn't matter. It was a sweet
Anyway, car. It's a dope looking neon car.
Yeah.
It probably is a Ferrari. You could be right. I just thought it looked like a Lambo from far away, but who knows?
I don't know cars. I don't pretend.
Yeah. Maybe it is a Ferrari. I don't know. I'd have to look at the logo. Anyway, her coming out in that sports car, looking as fly as she did, picking up Naomi, who of course matches the car's color, has a dope little jacket. She fits her aesthetic perfectly. And then Sasha gets out of the car. And good golly. Not my absolute favorite of hers, but pretty damn close. I thought the color scheme was great. It fit her well, as it always does. Her gear always just hugs every little thing it should be. It was very Galaxy to me. Star, she's a superstar, obviously, naturally. Loved the train on the robe. I love how it went around her top, showing her midsection, hooked at the hip area, and then just flowed right out. It was top tier.
Yes. I like the Galaxy pull. There are a lot of stars in the night sky, but none that shine as bright as Sasha Banks. And I think that's kind of what we see here. It's a Joshi cut too. You know what I mean? With the cutouts on the hips.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, it felt there was a little bit of a Joshi vibe there, I thought, with the way it kind of all tied together. And again, given her history with kind of, every time people jump on her for random things, and especially her fan base, which I get is a bit out of control. I don't know why people put that back on the wrestler. It's not the wrestler's responsibility to keep her fans in line. Like her fans need to keep themselves in line. And all I think about is her taking care of, her brother and watching fucking AJPW back in the day. You know what I mean? Like this is a wrestling fan first in Sasha. And so anytime she pulls something like this, where I'm like, that could be a Joshi cut, I tend to go that direction because I feel like she's a student of the game and she watched a lot of that back in the day. And so that's so I always have an appreciation for her for that. Right. She's like my favorite. Like, she's one of my favorite. She's top tier for me. Sports entertainer, wrestler. Like I'm a Sasha mark. I have been forever. And this look with the Galaxy vibe, it's one of those things where we talked about Miz and Logan Paul, and how they went from primary black with yellow accent to yellow primary with black accent when they took the robe off. She is full Galaxy, straight through, gear to jacket to gear, right? And that kind of enveloped her as she walked to the ring. And then she kept it real simple underneath with black satin. I just felt that it was awesome. I love the throwback to the hair from last year. I think you don't have to fix what's not broken. Right. It wasn't a surprise. I saw her in the bump. That's right. I watched the bump. Yep. That's my girl. She Kayla. Such a great spot.
It is so good.
So I saw her with the blue with the green. And again, for the glow synergy aspect of it, I appreciated it for what it was. Again, I'm not watching weekly, so maybe she's had this hair for the last 2 months. I have no clue. My point is just, again, WrestleMania to WrestleMania, it doesn't seem like she's lost a step. The confidence she exudes when she comes to the ring, fantastic. Naomi, what can you say? The only thing I wish, if I'm going to point out anything, was I wish Naomi was in the car at first. They came to a stop. Then they do the glow entrance at that point.
Yes.
Not to say Sasha has to dance, but, let Naomi get hers in right then and there. Then they come to the ring together. Splitting hairs there when I say it, but that would be really, really neat. Otherwise, the car was the show, Sasha was the show, and I just wanted Naomi to just put out there a little bit more. You know what I mean? I know she had a little spot at the beginning, but then that car comes out and she kind of gets lost a little bit, and Naomi doesn't deserve to be lost. That she should be front and center with Sasha, and she was, but very, very good look from both of them. But Sasha, I mean, come on. I mean, again, it's nothing against Naomi. I'm just a mark.
I know.
For Sasha.
I mean, same. Same. So much so. She's normally my wrestling fashion go other than Charlotte. And
it's true.
I love the whole vibe.
You've always been that. You've always been the Charlotte wrestling fashion. I've always been on the Sasha side.
That's true. It's very true. She rocked.
Oh, and I love Naomi's shades, by the way.
Oh, they look so good.
Just to get that in there. It's just fun. I love that futuristic kind of, it's a very Dua Lipa type of vibe to it, that futuristic nostalgia type of vibe. Love it to death.
Living. It's just a great look. Makes me want to go out and party as, you dance with Naomi. So that works out great. Liv and Rhea come out with a Batman Catwoman / dominatrix, and I questioned everything in my life. Looking at them going, excuse me, hi, hello, hello, let me call you. I loved it. It wasn't shocking or surprising in any way in terms of like I would expect this from them, but it hit. It hit really well. I thought. I love an all black look personally.
Black leather's timeless in a lot of ways.
Classic.
Not typically used together, but it is a universal look, right? Mm-hmm. The only thing that didn't work for me is I don't know if Liv knows how to use a whip. You know
Clearly
what I mean?
not.
Because she was limp wristing that thing around, and it's like no. If you're gonna do this, you kind of have to control what you're doing there because it can look real sloppy real quick.
Yeah, it looked a little heavy for her.
Yeah, it looked a little heavy. It was a little wobbly. I like that they went with like the thick that went into the thin aspect of it. But then she's kind of waving around, and you can see it on the video, but nobody will be able to see it on the audio. I'm kind of doing it limp wristed, and then she's kind of like wooing down the stage, and I'm like, the aesthetic there doesn't exactly work for me.
Go together.
Right, like you got this cool badass kind of vibe. You got this like smirking confidence and Rhea, and then you just got Liv like, woo, WrestleMania.
Hey, and you're like,
She's like a woo girl with in during Halloween time. I was like, all right, let's tone that aspect of it down a little bit. But again, if you're on the grandest stage of them all, it's stupendous. Go do your thing, and
you gotta love it.
Yeah, I'm not here to say that people can't have fun. Have fun.
No, we like to have a little fun. We like to have a little fun here on the Queen and Puck Connection, and we can appreciate when others have fun as well.
Oh yeah.
What wasn't fun for me was this Natty Shayna pairing. Blue and purple. I have no idea. I feel like Natalya goes through every person as a tag partner, so I have no idea.
True. I like that she's always kind of the lead in it.
She's right? Yeah. I mean, listen, I like Natty. That helps. This gear is not it for me. I don't like it. They're supposed to be a team, but they didn't match. I mean, purple and blue go together, but it's not enough cohesion for me to make it believable. Then we have Shayna's makeup madness.
Yeah. Makeup madness.
And the only cool thing that I have to share is what Natty shared on her Twitter. And I just sent it to you so you could see it up close as well, is Rey Mysterio let her borrow his boots for WrestleMania.
Oh, really?
Yes. And they're like that prismatic.
Yeah, I see that.
Awesome custom boot. And that I liked. But the rest I really could do without. And I hate the pink in the hair. I from Natty, I really just
a lot going on.
It's too much happening. Too much texture, too much happening. Yeah. I thought Natty's makeup was good, like eye wise. It's striking. Shayna's though, as we know, I can't
get behind it.
Can't get behind it. What about you?
I don't like it. I like ethereal kind of color schemes.
Sure.
And that pink, black, purple, navy blue, like a dark blue, with a little bit of twinkle, can work. I think it missed the mark here. Here's where I really would have liked to see something different, right? Mm-hmm. You've got Shayna, who's got this great build as a tactician, right? And you've got Natalya, who is got lineage on her side.
Sure.
Why are we not coming out in pink with black trim?
I know.
Like, I get it. Bret Hart doesn't really love Vince McMahon and the whole Owen thing. I get it. Then stay away from the Hart family and go Jim Neidhart. Because, direct descendant. If Shayna came out in pink pants with a black trim with Natalya's logo on the leg and a pink top and a black jacket, or better yet, a pink and black trim leather jacket, she would have looked, no makeup, so badass. Right? I know. Walking to the ring, because she would have looked like the female Bret Hart, right? And Natty, not to say she looked like Jim, but being the daughter of Jim, you could draw a parallel there and show respect, to the legacy of Jim Neidhart. I'm not saying they haven't done it in the past, and I'm not saying they haven't, but man, I look at these two and I say there's potential here if you can bring a little bit of that cohesive nature that we talk about with tag teams. But more importantly, you've just got Shayna, who is supposed to be this technical all-star. Now, does she show up to the level that I think she underperforms a lot of the way of like where I hold her with regards to her wrestling acumen. Mm-hmm. I don't think she ever really hits where I expect her to.
Mm-hmm.
But you can solve a lot of, but but if you give her like that Bret Hart kind of vibe, you know what I mean? Maybe it brings a little bit more believability into it, I just don't think it worked. And again, triple threat tag team. Well, actually, I think this was a fatal four. I think we have one more to talk about, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, we do.
yes, how could I forget?
Zelina and
Zelina and Carmella coming down.
So one hit and one miss. I'll let you guess which one's which.
Well, again, I'm not the best. I'm going to disappoint you, Queen. I'm going to disappoint you. Because I like Carmella.
I know you do. I know you do.
Mella is money. And I don't understand. Again, I'm not here for storylines. So I don't know why she wears a mask. I don't know why she's dressed as a bride, although they alluded to it. I guess they're married.
They're getting married. Yeah.
Her and Corey.
So she's preserving her skin and, that whole thing, okay. I guess.
All right. That's not the mask. Is like a moisturizing mask that preserves the skin type of thing.
I think so. Don't quote me. I'm
not saying that's good, but I'm saying it makes me laugh. She gave off kind of Chelsea Green vibes, right? With that when she was doing the wedding dress gimmick in TNA and Shimmer. Zelina is a complete look. These two together, again, as someone who's a casual who doesn't watch blah 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 blah, makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
Don't get it.
What the hell am I looking at? Zelina looks amazing.
Yep.
Carmella looks amazing. Together,
they look like nothing. Yeah.
I have more questions than answers. You know what I mean? Like, and I've always liked the Staten Island Princess, right? Even back to the NXT days, I've always been a fan, and not, for a couple different reasons. I just felt like she's always thrown into storylines or scenarios where you're just like, man, really? And she always seems to do a serviceable job. Like when you're the one that has to, partner with that dipshit Ellsworth. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know.
She did great for what was expected of her. You know what I mean? She was a women's title champion. She won the Money in the Bank. All of that. Like, I just feel like she's done a really, really good job with. She gives the best performance given the bullshit that they give her. Zelina, I don't think they have any fun. Why is she doing the British wave?
Because she's the queen
of what?
She won Queen of the Ring.
Well, she won Queen. But she doesn't look. I don't know. It doesn't work. You know what I mean? It doesn't. That makes more sense. Actually, I didn't realize there was even a Queen of the Ring. That's how checked out I am on WWE. All right. Well, that makes okay. Then I'll redact that statement. She looks great. Her profile, that scepter, that crown, scepter. It's fantastic. Oh, okay. I see that a little bit better now. That looked great.
So great.
It just doesn't make sense together. No. And that loses it for me there.
Again, our word of the night, cohesion. Where is it?
Yeah, that's the truth.
MIA. Match was fine. Yeah. Stoked for Sasha to break her losing streak at Mania. Yeah, that was great. Loved that.
Time story. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good ending. I also love Naomi with a belt. And love Naomi with a belt. I hope they actually utilize these championships because I like them both, and it would be a shame not to.
Yeah, anything with Sasha and Naomi, I'm in favor of. I don't know. Again, maybe there are, so I'll bite my tongue. I don't know what other tag teams are available for them to go against now that you just had a Fatal 4 with 3. There was 6 women. I'm sure there's other tag teams but again, how many could there possibly be before this run becomes stagnant? They don't need to wrestle. They can come out and just cut promos for all I care. You know what I mean? For the next couple months or for the next couple weeks. And then as they build a storyline to something. But where does it go? Who knows? But you have the titles on your best 2 that I saw that night. So there's a win there.
Huge win there. Speaking of wins, on Wednesdays, what do we wear?
We wear Rated R Superstar.
Amen.
Purple.
Listen, Edge understands the assignment. He knows that this is the color. Homeboy came with an entrance, man.
The benchmark.
Wow. He's on a whole new level. It's one of the main things I've been paying attention to is him. because of the cool stuff he's doing. It's so cool to watch a man create such evolution in his character over the years that you see something completely brand new at his age now. Wild. And it was very Brood-esque. I was expecting some blood just because it looked like he was king of hell. And it was spectacular. I love the jacket. I like the whole thing. This was not a miss for me. I really, really enjoyed it. And then when he takes that off and it's black and purple, sold. I win.
Yeah.
And AJ is the same, just white and Carolina blue.
Super clean aesthetic.
Yep.
From AJ. Edge 2. I felt for the match that they were having, which was a bit plotting at the beginning and,
sure.
through the back third of it a bit. I picked up at the end, which was fine. I think they were kind of going for that main event epic, and I think it fell a little short.
Sure.
I don't, so from the analysis side, I guess I can say that. But Edge, here's what I liked about it.
Okay.
I don't know what the hell Edge and Damian Priest will be. Didn't watch the night after. But I know that Damian Priest wears black and purple.
Sure does.
I know that they weren't friendly before the end of this match, but they're friendly moving forward, right?
Yep.
That helped a little bit. Again, it's what we talk about with the fashion aspect and colors and things of that nature, is that you can kind of draw parallels without having to know 100% on what's going on. And so when I see Damian Priest just stoically standing there towards the end of the match as AJ lines up the phenomenal forearm, and he's just staring at Edge, not to say that you didn't know what was going to happen with regards to them kind of teaming up, albeit I'm glad that it wasn't a fuck finish 100%.
Very much so.
I do sit there and I say, he's going to get in the ring and this is going to become a new staple, right? You got a benchmark guy in Edge. He's older. You got this younger guy who's 40 coming up, and Punishment Martinez.
Yep.
And then you kind of got this synergy with what I remember Priest being with the purple and black from last year's WrestleMania. Okay, like I wouldn't be surprised if they go that route. And sure enough, that little foreshadow is there, and we're moving forward with the benchmark rated R Stardom or whatever they're going by. Again, I didn't watch last night, so I don't know if they came up with a name or not. Edge entrance was great. You know us, anything with purple, we're fans of. It's an easy way for us to get on the Queen of Pop to get on your side. I just think he looks better conditioned than he's looked in a long time. Edge looks old, but healthy.
Yes.
When he first came back, he looked old and small. He doesn't look so small right now. And maybe that's been a theme, or maybe that's been noticeable for the last 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, whatever. But it's very noticeable to me in this match, where I was like, you know what? This cat's still got some legs to him. He doesn't look as much like the old dog that I saw in the greatest match that ever was with him and Randy Orton or whatever it was. Which again, they didn't even win their best match of the year. God, I hate that. So again, I thought the match was plotting. Didn't think it really ever got to the level that I was hoping it was going to get to. Again, I thought they were kind of going for that main event, epic type of wrestling match. I just don't think it got there. I don't think AJ Styles has gotten there in a little while with that.
Agreed.
It's an AJ Styles kind of match, and I just felt a little flat. A lot of wins here, fashion-wise, in the clean aesthetics, but nothing that's going to blow me away either. No top marks.
No top marks, but the purple gives you a little bonus.
I love it. Love that royal purple.
Love that. I also really love the New Day.
New Day?
Yes, it is. And they come out wearing Biggie gear as a tribute. Oh, you gotta love it. It's the gear, a nod to his gear that he wore when he won the championship. And oh man, the New Day tells story with their wrestling fashion, with their gear choices. They're always good at that. One of my favorites in recent history is where they did the coloring in gear.
Yeah, that was always fun.
Every time paint by numbers. Yeah, every time it got a little more intense, a little more color came in. And this was just a delightful treat to see. The other one, I really couldn't even find a picture of all of them together. I just remember what I watched on screen, and it's very UK.
Yep.
The hats, okay, but the rest, I don't really. They go together, but they don't go together. I'm not sure if that makes sense, or if I'm going to explain that the right way. But they look like they're in a group or together, but it's not the same type of cohesion we've seen with other teams. I guess that's what I'm trying to say.
Right. I don't know. I think I disagree.
Okay.
I think I'm on the other side of this one. I think, I think they tell their story through their hats, right? You have the two driving caps with Butch and Ridge, right? And then you have the pork pie fedora with your leader, right? And I mean, it does have that kind of that old world vibe to it, where it's kind of like I don't know if I would go. I'm trying to think of whatever that old timey UK kind of. It's like the street smart kids, what I mean? Like it was the cobblestone boys and whatever, like they're kind of playing off that type of Newsies-esque bully club, and so that's what I'm looking for. So in that essence, I thought it worked really, really well. At the same time, I sat there and I said, it's vanilla, it's plain Jane, it's lackluster as hell, right? There's nothing about that look where I disagree that I think it was actually rather cohesive with the way they kind of pushed everything. My thing is like, what about that? It should speak to me. You know what I mean? Like they're the Fight Club, okay, or whatever they call themselves. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But you're just playing into a stereotype of old world Europe. You know what I mean? Or that European kind of bully mentality. We've seen that, right? We've seen that at the pubs. We've seen that in movies. We've seen that in what we perceive to be European culture in America. That's boring.
Yeah, nothing special.
It's nothing special. It's there and it's gone tomorrow. And unfortunately for Sheamus, that's a lot of his shtick. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't really ever his characters never really kind of take off too much. So this is a little bit more kind of as the boss man, right? He's kind of the kingpin of the group. Sure. But again, like it's just another Sheamus driven tag team, this time with a Butch kicker. How excited am I supposed to be? Because it seems like every 8 months this dude's got another character with another tag team partner. So whatever, right? To your point about the Big E scheme, they wore the colors that he wore when he won the world title. That was a nice throwback. That was a good way of honoring your tag team just your stable mate, right? Yeah. And one of your good friends. But you're gonna squash him? We're gonna go squash now?
Not happy.
Come on now. Like if there was more, if I had more from the Fight Club in the sense of I thought actually Butch was the best part of the whole damn thing. I was more we got the New Day at WrestleMania paying tribute to a broken neck Big E, and they get less time in the ring than the entrance of like Charlotte. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy. I think it was like 1:43.
It was ridiculous.
And the most of the time I was focused on Butch trying to get in and cause havoc. What are we doing? With the New Day. And that was disappointing to say. I'm sure there's time runs and there's this and there's that. And I'm sure there's ways of talking around it. For me, it was just kind of like, man, we're just going to screw up this guy's neck. And then we're going to pay tribute to the guy by going out there and getting squashed in 2 minutes. It's not that serious, bro. I get it. But, the optics of it just don't seem good. They just don't sit well.
No, not at all. Really hated that whole thing, especially because we had things that could have been cut and not necessary to show the Cody Rhodes package 90,000 times. You couldn't give a few more minutes to the New Day match instead of doing that. It's too much. I really hated I really hated that. It just felt kind of disrespectful. And like,
But a little
listen,
cheap. Yeah, and I'm not saying they did
bit.
it on purpose, and it,
No.
and I know you're not either. It's just, it just doesn't land. It doesn't hit right.
No, it feels wrong. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And also I don't like anything else that happens for the rest of the show.
What?
In terms of wrestling fashion, it was nothing.
Oh, sure.
It was nothing. It was just black and black pants and a tank top and Brock being Brock and Austin Theory, who I really don't like, looking like a knockoff wannabe Seth Rollins vibe with that vest. So it's a hard pass for me, wrestling fashion wise. Entertainment wise, Austin Theory, Pat McAfee was great. Pat McAfee got his money's worth for being in his WrestleMania as he always dreamed of. I thought he did very well. The stuff with Mr. McMahon, I mean, it's so good it's bad, or so bad it's good, however you say that. And Stone Cold coming out and doing that botch of a stunner was hilariously terrible and cringy as well. And then I don't know what else I can say about it. It was entertaining.
Yeah, like Pat. Fun story about Pat. Pat got blackout drunk right when he retired from the Colts.
Yeah.
And ended up buying a wrestling ring that he forgot about. And like 2 months later, this whole gigantic semi shows up in front of his house with a ring that he didn't know what to do, so they just installed it in his backyard, and that's how he got started training on how being a wrestler. Isn't that funny? He told that story on For the Brand. Austin Theory he will always be an evolved wrestler to me, and that's a shame, but it's just the reality of it. If you're a fan of him and you think I'm speaking out of school, fine, whatever. He'll always be an evolved wrestler for me. He's vanilla. He's plain Jane. There's nothing about him. He's super acrobatic, and he took a great stunner. So, I'll give him credit where credit's due. He definitely knows what he's doing in the ring, but there's nothing about him that I like at all. And you can tell that he's having a hard time connecting, which is why you put him with Vince McMahon, right?
Mm-hmm.
To help try to get him over in some aspect. Pat, I thought, had a great match.
Yeah.
He sold to the crowd, the sports entertainment element. Again, just knew what to do and how to do it without being overly, wrestler-ish about it. Still kept a good balance with the sports entertainment side.
Sure.
He will always be a Yinzer, right, from Pittsburgh with his nonsense. So I will always kind of hate him a little bit. With the kind of the way he talks and his mannerisms and whatnot, just because I know, and I mean that. No, I like people from Pittsburgh.
No.
But it's one of those things where we sit there and we Cleveland, right?
Fuck Cleveland. Sorry, Mr. Q.
So there's that aspect of it I thought was really, really good. Then Vince McMahon gets in the ring and you've got Pat McAfee selling like a fish, right? Flopping around all left and right. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, here he has this very credible match, not like a barn burner, but he has this credible match where it feels like he knows what he's doing in the ring against Austin Theory. And then he gets in with Vince, and it's just like half-hearted lariat from a 79-year-old or however old Vince is at this point. And he's just, I get it. I'm in it. It's a television show. I'm not going to break kayfabe, and I'm not going to. I didn't suspend my disbelief by any stretch. But it's just kind of like, come on. You know what I mean?
Know. So stupid.
It just went on a little too long. Then we get a Vince McMahon match, which is wild, against Pat McAfee. And that's insanity. And then we got Stone Cold coming out, doing the Stone Cold throwback. Probably one of the best stunners I've seen since The Rock took the stunner.
Oh my God.
Which made it infamous. That dude flew like 40 feet in the air. And it looked like he flew 40 feet in the air, not like he jumped up 40 feet in the air. So credit to Austin Theory for that, followed by the greatest stunner of all time.
So
Limp
good.
Dick stunner from Vince McMahon. This dude went 100% flaccid right as Stone Cold grabbed around his neck, and they both kind of fell to the ground. It was so bad. It was great. It was, so I think I tweeted, I was like, that Austin that Austin stunner was great. And then I was like, that Vince stunner was greater. It's just something so bad. And I think half of it is you're dealing with two old ass people. The other half of it is they lean into the gimmick of Vince never being able to take a stunner. Right.
Ever.
And so the last stunner that he takes from Stone Cold before they ride off into the dusty sunset of nonsense is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't have been more thrilled with that outcome. And then Pat McAfee gets to live the dream of drinking beers with Steve Austin at WrestleMania in the ring, then taking the stunner.
Live the dream.
On. It's what we all want. You know what I mean? It's what we all want. The stunner is the coolest pop move of all time. Hands down, no doubt about it. I don't care. The shit is amazing. WWE fans just eat that shit up. Yeah, I eat that shit up.
Me too.
I just love
all
that
these
shit.
Years later. It's still
I just woo every time. So in that essence, very good. Wrestling fashion wise, Vince's tie, very nice.
What?
Outside of that, nothing out of it. Nothing of note.
I got nothing to know. And guess what? The last match, the unification match, ain't shit to talk about there either, wrestling fashion wise. And also, I hate Roman wrestling Brock. I hate it. I couldn't dislike it anymore. Except I love that Roman is the heel and Brock is the face, sort of. As face as Brock can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Roman as a heel is top tier. He should be champion forever. And he rules. This bloodline thing, best thing ever happened to him. Tribal chief. I was waiting for Roman to turn heel for so long, and it finally happened. And boy, is it paying off! It's so good, and I like to see Brock having fun. I never thought I'd like anything more than Boombox Brock, but this one with the ponytail and the cowboy hat is sending me. It's just a wild thing to see in 2022. It was fine. The right guy, in my opinion, won as well. I'm interested to see what they do next with a new belt from wrestling fashion standpoint. Belts are included with that because they are an accessory. They are the accessory.
Oh, wait, are we getting a new belt?
I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know. I would love a new belt because I hate the design of the current ones.
You're unifying them. You might as well.
Might as well. If you're going to actually unify them, then do it.
Right.
I'm hoping it's pretty and shiny.
I don't mind if they keep the double belt for a while. I really don't mind the double belt. I know that they'll move away from it, but I don't mind it. I haven't watched this match yet.
It's what you think it's going to be.
At 11:15. I want to watch it, and I'm really hoping that I enjoy it. Like I've always been of the proponent of Brock's the show. Right. The reason Brock runs the schedule Brock runs is because Brock can.
Yep.
You know, and if Brock never steps into WWE ring again, he could care less. I truly do believe that in a lot of ways. Roman, I've always been a fan of. So again, like these are two guys that, you know, in a lot of ways I've never had issue with, and I've never had an issue with them together.
Sure.
Have they put on like these just epic main event barn burners? No. The closest they came was when Seth Rollins spoiled the party and came in and took the title at the end of WrestleMania in San Francisco.
Yep.
But the reality is that it never lives up to the hype 100%. No. My hope is that this one does, and I do plan on watching it sometime this week. But I mean, I went to bed and I was in Discord and we were talking about it. And I was like, all right, guys, I'm going to bed because I got to be up at 5.
Yeah.
It's 11:15. I'm not staying up for this match. But I did sit there and go, you know, Roman's winning, so that's not going to be a surprise, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. And sure enough, I wake up in the morning and Roman won 2 titles, bam, and we're rocking and rolling. So nothing, even as someone who doesn't even watch, it was kind of
you just knew.
You just kind of knew how the ending was going to be, so I'll catch the match whenever. From a fashion standpoint, same old. I like the Luau flowers.
Yep.
And I like Paul Heyman's kind of that orangey peach tie square combo that he had.
Yeah.
Again, other than that, though, nothing to write home about.
Nothing to write home about, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the close of the most stupendous WrestleMania.
Hashtag Wrestling Fashion Edition.
Hashtag Wrestling Fashion Edition. The best part of Mania, in my not so humble, but sort of humble opinion, is when you and I sit down and talk what should be some of the most exciting wrestling fashion of the year.
Oh, yeah.
Before we leave, pal, Stardom is doing some hashtag watch Stardom wrestling fashion moments that are very eye-catching, and also Okada's white robe textured
How about that?
robe
How about
thing.
Cool that fucking White Ranger,
Listen, what in the world? So that red one that you retweeted the other day,
yeah,
and I texted you about it. I don't know what to say.
The wrestling
on
another
fashion
level,
coming out,
man. I'm telling you, she's got this like winged angel type of vibe going on with. She's got so many crazy robe combos. It's nuts.
yeah.
She's intense. We had Julia show up, and one, she's been rocking an eye patch, which is hilarious, but like with this crazy hat, rose combo with this went all red dreads, like a deep crimson color. Oof. And then had matching attire with the crimson dreads. It's just I don't know, like you see things like that and they're so different than what we're accustomed to seeing. These looks, not that they change a whole lot, but when they do, it's significant. It's insanity, right? And I think Julia probably is one of the, I think when it's all said and done, Julia will go in the hashtag Wrestling Fashion Hall of Fame. Yep. Because it seems like this time last year, and I'm probably off a month or so, she was doing a match against Tam, hair versus hair, in which she loses, and then she comes out as G.I. Julia for the next 3 months, right? And she goes from this kind of classic look into this G.I. Julia, that she turns that into to her old cut after she got injured, and now she's back to rocking the dreads, and then she rocks the dreads in crimson. So she's just switching it up constantly. She's had like 7 looks in 13 months. It's insanity. And then everybody else is stepping up their game as well. It's just, if you're into wrestling fashion, Stardom is a place to check out because the looks are always changing, bright colors, cool unis, good attire, walking to the ring, etc. Boring as hell outside of the ring. But you know what I mean? But inside the ring, it's a show, right? It's a show. So again, I welcome everybody to check out stardom-world.com. Free plug for them, I guess. And on Twitter at Big Paws on a Pup, hanging out. Not really too active anymore. Hopefully that picks up as I get out of my busy season here in the next month or so. And check out Pro Wrestling Illustrated presents on any podcast that you enjoy, because once a quarter right now, maybe a little bit more when I get out of the swing of my year here, Just Joshi with JPQ, talking all things Joshi wrestling for Pro Wrestling Illustrated, as well as we have the women's top to be decided coming up in October. So that'll be fun as we get closer to that, looking for good representation. Women's wrestling's blowing up right now, Queen. I don't have to tell you, if you're not on the bandwagon worldwide on what women's wrestling is doing, PWI has your back. And on the Joshi scene, Just Joshi, again, once a quarter on Pro Wrestling Illustrated presents. And my plugs.
Oh, I'm so proud of you for the PWI too.
Crazy, right? Isn't it funny?
It's dope. It's so dope.
It's cool.
Man, if y'all aren't listening to my pal, you should. Those of you who know. And if you're new, hey, go check out my pal at Big Paws on a Pup. One half, the better half of the hashtag Queen and Pop Connection.
We're not leaving that way.
Yes, we are.
You are the better half.
It's my show. Okay. I'm the boss here. So make sure you go do that for me, my friends. And JPQ, it's been a blast. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to chit chat with me about silly wrestling. But how much do we love wrestling fashion? It's so great. And I have to say, it's super fun to see everybody on the Twitters talking about wrestling fashion these days. Podcasts are starting about it.
It's starting to take off a little bit. There's a couple shows out there now that are kind of dedicated to it now, which is pretty cool.
I'm into it. We love to see it. We love the support for hashtag wrestling fashion. And thanks for hanging out with me, my very good pal.
Hashtag Queen and Puppin.
That's it.
Connection for life.
For life. Life. Yes, you said it. So for JPQ and I, my friends, that's a wrap. Remember, enjoy the rest of your day or night, wherever you are, and continue to be kind to one another. We're out.